Here are key steps of the story. Joseph was loved and favored by his father Jacob. He even made Joseph a coat of many colors, and because of this, he was hated by his brothers. One could say, while the brothers were loved, they were not loved as much as Joseph. It was clear their father preferred Joseph. God gave Joseph 2 dreams, showing that he would one day rule and others would bow to him, and he shared it with his brothers and his father. He was rebuked and chastised for sharing the dream, and Jacob questioned if he would want him and his mother to bow to him. He was not believed. His brother hated and envied him even more. One day Joseph is sent on an errand by his father, but when he arrived to meet his brothers, they betrayed him. They stripped him of his robe and threw him into a pit. Then they sold him to slave traders and covered his coat with goat's blood. They lied and let their father believe Joseph was dead. Joseph was betrayed again when he refused to sin against God and his master, Potiphar. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph, and Joseph was put in jail. While in jail, Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's butler and baker's dreams. When Pharaoh had a dream later that no one could interpret, Joseph was remembered. He was summoned by Pharaoh. God gave Joseph the interpretation of the dream. Joseph also had the wisdom to know how to administer the governance from the dream. Pharaoh made Joseph second in command in Egypt. Joseph was in charge of the food during the drought. When Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy food, they bowed and asked Joseph for the food. He recognized them, but they did not know him. Joseph struggled and cried, remembering the pain of his past. He tested his brothers, and eventually they were sent away to bring Benjamin, Joseph's brother. When they returned, Joseph was excited to see Benjamin, but he wept secretly. Eventually, he told them who he was, and not to feel guilty for what they did because Joseph said it was an act of God. This was the fulfillment of Joseph's dream. His family was restored, and he invited them all to live with him. Here, we see the truth was preserved. This story gives several views of the disease condition and how it can work in our lives. Not only from Joseph's perspective, but we can also see it working in Jacob and Joseph's brothers as well. Joseph's disease condition was abandonment and rejection. Although he had the love of his father, not being believed or accepted to be and do what God created him to do was an issue. His brother's disease condition was rejection because they were loved less by their father. This favoritism caused them to envy and hate Joseph, eventually to betray him and their father. Jacob and his sons also dealt with a disease which caused them to feel superior to Joseph. Pride affected their ability to hear or see God speak through Joseph. Jacob dealt with the trauma of loss, and because of it, almost didn't allow Benjamin to go and see Joseph. Joseph overcame his diseased soul when he fully recognized the truth. Everything he endured was through God's grace and not man's cruelty. He was not a victim, but a victor through God, who gave him his true and original identity. His life had been in his Maker's hands all along. His brothers had the opportunity to see what God did for them, and their motives and lives were revealed as well. We live in a fallen world, and the presence of sin has made a diseased condition of the soul something we must all confront. The whole truth is our remedy. It was purchased as a gift from God through his Son, Jesus Christ, freeing us to be who he created us to be. Who were you before the trauma to your soul? Who were you created to be? What lies do you believe because of a diseased soul? Are you willing to allow God to restore you to his original identity, purpose, and plan?